Within a single week, the land had been torn apart in broad daylight, trampled by packs that seemed to multiply with every passing hour. Entire fields that once carried the promise of a harvest now lay in ruins, their soil gouged open, their crops shredded beyond recognition. Fear spread so deeply that farmers no longer dared to plant their seeds. What was the point of tending fields when the ground itself had become a battlefield? Determined to end the devastation, Thomas and his hunting crew began the plan. These weren't amateurs. Every man on the team carried years of experience tracking and dealing with predators. But this was something different. This wasn't just another hunt. It was a fight to reclaim their land, to protect food, family, and livelihood. They carefully studied the terrain, noting the creatures' predictable paths. The tracks pressed deep into the soil, and the faint trails where boars had broken fences and carved tunnels through hedges. The only question was whether the plan would hold, or if the destruction would continue to spread like wildfire across the countryside. First light, Thomas and his crew slipped quietly into the fields scarred by destruction. The stench of overturned soil and rotting vegetation filled the air, a grim reminder of the stakes. The hunting dogs were unleashed, noses pressed low to the ground, tails stiff and quick. Within seconds, they locked onto a scent, their sharp barks breaking the silence of dawn. The warning was clear. The fight was about to begin. Then, out of nowhere, a massive boar exploded from the brush. Its tusks glistened, its eyes wild with fury, and it charged straight at them with unstoppable force. But the hunters didn't flinch. Years of discipline took over. Gunfire cracked through the air in an instant. The beast stumbled, then collapsed within seconds, a testament to the team's flawless aim and unshakable nerve. One down. But Thomas knew the hunt was far from over. Pushing deeper into the field, every shadow seemed alive. Thomas's breathing slowed, his pulse steady, every muscle tight with focus. Then he saw it. A dark figure grazing in the distance, blissfully unaware it was being hunted. With deliberate calm, Thomas slid into position. He steadied his aim, pulled the trigger, and with one sharp crack, the beast crumpled instantly. A clean, decisive takedown. For a moment, the field seemed to breathe again. But peace never lasted long. At the western edge, another shadow emerged, thicker, stronger, ready to unleash chaos. This time, Jay was waiting. He raised his rifle and fired with relentless precision. Each round struck with deadly accuracy until the animal faltered, staggered, and collapsed into the dirt. Its rampage had been silenced before it ever began, but the day's work was only a prelude to what came after dark. When night finally settled in, the real hunt began. By 7 p.m., Thomas and his team were in position, cloaked in darkness, every man knowing that the night favored the boars as much as it did the hunters. With infrared binoculars glowing green against their eyes, the field came alive with movement. At the far edge, a herd of wild boars rooted noisily, tearing the earth apart, completely unaware of the danger watching from the shadows. Thomas steadied his rifle, exhaled slowly, and squeezed the trigger. The silence shattered. One shot cracked through the night, and chaos erupted instantly. The herd scattered in panic, squealing and crashing through undergrowth. One dropped where it stood, lifeless in the dirt. The others barreled toward cover, but the hunters moved with measured steps, advancing carefully. Then, a sudden rustle sliced through the darkness. Thomas swung his flashlight, its beam cutting through the night to reveal another beast. He didn't hesitate. One decisive shot dropped it on the spot. Moments later, a sharp alert buzzed in their earpieces. Another presence, this time not just one, but an entire cluster. Through the glow of infrared lenses, the hunters saw them. A dozen boars packed together, tusks flashing, bodies shifting as they rooted for food. If allowed to advance, they would destroy another acre by morning. "Lock in," Thomas whispered. Every rifle steadied. Then the night erupted. A storm of gunfire split the air, precise and merciless. The herd scattered, but not far. By the time the chaos ended, the ground was littered with bodies. A major threat had been stopped before it ever reached the crops. For the first time in weeks, Thomas allowed himself to feel something like relief. But the war was bigger than this one night. Across France, the wild boar crisis was reaching alarming levels. These animals were tearing through crops, causing hundreds of millions in damages every year.
If you'll enjoy this video, please like and subscribe my channel for more information.